For centuries, Rumi's words have been quoted, translated, and reimagined, but sometimes what the world repeats is not what he truly said, and this changes everything. The most famous spiritual poem of our time teaches millions to welcome all emotions with laughter. But when you read the actual words from the Masnavi, you discover he said something completely different, something that reveals why your heart has been a battlefield instead of a guest house. For decades, people have quoted what they believe are his words. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows. Treat each guest honorably. But here's what almost nobody knows. These are not Rumi's words. They are a modern interpretation that has changed the entire meaning of what the great Sufi master actually taught. In the Masnavi, Volume 5, verses 3647 to 3695, Rumi wrote something far more profound. Every day, at every moment, a thought comes like an honored guest into your bosom. O soul, regard thought as a person, since a person derives his worth from thought and spirit. This is not about welcoming emotions with forced cheerfulness. This is about understanding the divine purpose behind every state that enters your heart. But why does this matter? Because millions of people have been trying to practice something that was never Rumi's actual teaching. They have been forcing themselves to smile at their pain, to laugh at their sorrow, to welcome their darkness as if it were light. And when they cannot do this, they feel like spiritual failures. They wonder why the guest house method does not work for them. The answer is simple. They were never practicing Rumi's method at all. So what did Rumi actually teach about the guest house of the heart? He taught that every emotional state, every thought, every spiritual condition that enters your being comes as a messenger from Allah, not as a random visitor you must entertain, but as a divine communication you must learn to read. The heart, according to Rumi, is not just a guest house. It is a receiving station for divine transmissions. In the authentic verses, Rumi explains something extraordinary. If the thought of sorrow is waylaying joy, it is making preparations for joy. It violently sweeps your house clear of everything else in order that new joy from the source of good may enter in. This is not about accepting sorrow with a smile. This is about understanding that sorrow has a divine function. It is clearing space in your heart for something greater. Think about this. When grief enters your life, it does not come to destroy you. It comes to empty you of attachments that were preventing deeper joy from taking root. When anxiety visits your heart, it is not there to torment you. It is showing you where you have placed your trust in things other than Allah. When anger rises in your chest, it is not there to make you evil. It is revealing where your sense of justice has been violated, where your soul recognizes that something is not aligned with divine order. Rumi says, "It scatters the yellow leaves from the bough of the heart in order that incessant green leaves may grow." Every difficult emotion that enters your heart is like autumn wind, clearing away what has become old, stale, or ready to fall. But the modern interpretation misses this completely. It suggests that you should welcome your anger, your depression, your anxiety as if they were friends coming for tea. But Rumi is saying something much more sophisticated. He is saying that these states are divine tools sent to prepare your heart for something better. The sorrow that empties your heart is making space for joy that comes from the source of all good. The fear that strips away your false confidence is preparing you to trust in Allah alone. The loneliness that breaks your attachment to people is opening you to divine companionship that never abandons. But here's what most people miss. Rumi does not say you should passively accept every state. In the authentic text, he provides a prayer. Whenever the thought comes into your breast anew, go to meet it with smiles and laughter, saying, "O my Creator, preserve me from its evil. Do not deprive me, but let me partake of its good. O my Lord, prompt me to give thanks for that which I see. Do not let me feel any subsequent regret if it shall pass away." Do you see the difference? Rumi is not telling you to welcome evil as if it were good. He is telling you to recognize that even in difficult states, there is both evil and good. Your job is to seek Allah's protection from the harmful aspects while remaining open to the beneficial ones. This is not about pretending that depression is delightful. This is about asking Allah to show you what this depression is meant to teach you while protecting you from being destroyed by it. The heart, in Rumi's understanding, is like a sacred space where Allah communicates with his servant through states and conditions. Every emotion that enters is a form of divine speech. But just as human speech can carry both truth and falsehood, divine communications through emotional states carry both beneficial and harmful potentials. The wise person learns to discern between them. When anger enters your heart, there may be divine justice calling you to act against oppression, but there may also be ego wanting to hurt someone. When sadness visits you, there may be divine invitation to let go of worldly attachments, but there may also be depression wanting to lead you into despair. When love fills your chest, there may be divine attraction drawing you closer to truth. But there may also be passion wanting to possess what belongs to Allah alone. This is why Rumi teaches a prayer, not just acceptance. He teaches discrimination, not just openness. The guest house of your heart is not a place where every visitor gets equal treatment. It is a place where you learn to recognize which guests carry divine messages and which ones carry spiritual poison. You welcome the divine message while seeking protection from the poison. But how do you tell the difference? Rumi provides a key. Whatever sorrow may cause to be shed from the heart or may take away, assuredly it will bring better in exchange, especially for him who knows with certainty that sorrow is the servant of the possessors of certainty. Divine sorrow empties you of what you do not need so that Allah can fill you with what you do need. Ego sorrow convinces you that you are lacking what you deserve and should fight to get it back. Divine anger shows you where justice is needed and gives you strength to establish it. Ego anger shows you where your pride has been wounded and wants to wound others in return. Divine love makes you more generous, more patient, more willing to sacrifice for others. Ego love makes you possessive, jealous, and demanding. The difference is in the fruits. Divine emotions, even when they feel difficult, ultimately increase your certainty in Allah, your trust in His wisdom, your capacity for goodness. Ego emotions, even when they feel good, ultimately increase your attachment to the world, your anxiety about the future, your tendency towards selfishness. Rumi understood something that modern spirituality often misses. The heart is not neutral territory. It is a battlefield between divine influence and ego influence. Every emotional state is an opportunity for one side or the other to gain ground. If you simply welcome everything without discrimination, you may be strengthening the very forces that keep you away from Allah. But if you learn to read the divine communications hidden within emotional states, you begin to understand why Allah sends what He sends when He sends it. The illness that frightens you may be teaching you to rely on His healing rather than your own strength. The financial loss that devastates you may be freeing you from the anxiety of protecting wealth. The relationship that ends may be redirecting your love toward the only one who will never leave you. This is the authentic guest house method. You welcome the divine guest within every emotional state, while seeking his protection from the harmful guest that often travels with it. You thank Allah for whatever good He wants to give you through this experience, while asking Him to spare you from whatever evil might try to enter through the same door. When loneliness visits, you do not pretend it is pleasant. You recognize that Allah may be calling you to discover that He is sufficient company. When fear arrives, you do not welcome it as wisdom. You recognize that Allah may be showing you where you have trusted in other than Him. When joy comes, you do not assume it is pure blessing. You recognize that Allah may be testing whether this joy will make you grateful or heedless. Every state that enters your heart is a divine curriculum designed specifically for your spiritual development. But like any curriculum, it can be learned correctly or incorrectly. It can lead to growth or to confusion. It can bring you closer to Allah or further from Him. Um, the difference is not in the state itself, but in how you respond to it. Rumi's guest house is not about emotional acceptance. It is about spiritual intelligence. It is about learning to read the divine messages that come disguised as human emotions. It is about developing the wisdom to extract benefit from every condition while avoiding the harm that often hides within the same condition. When you understand this, your relationship with your emotions changes completely. You stop seeing them as random occurrences that you must either suppress or indulge. You start seeing them as divine communications that you must learn to decode. You stop judging yourself for having difficult emotions and start asking what Allah wants to teach you through them. Your heart becomes what it was always meant to be, not just a guest house for any visitor that wants to enter, but a sacred space where you meet Allah through the language of states and conditions. A place where every emotion becomes a doorway to deeper understanding, greater trust, and more complete surrender to the one who sends all states as gifts, even when they arrive disguised as problems. This is Rumi's actual teaching about the guest house of your heart. Not passive acceptance of everything that comes, but active engagement with the divine curriculum that unfolds through your emotional life. Not welcoming sorrow as if it were joy, but welcoming the divine purpose within sorrow while seeking protection from its potential harm. Your heart was never meant to be a hotel where any emotion could take up residence. It was meant to be a mosque where every state becomes an opportunity for divine encounter. This is the difference between modern spirituality and authentic Sufi practice. This is why Rumi's actual words matter more than their popular interpretations. The guest house of your heart is not about being nice to your emotions. It is about being wise with the divine communications that come through them. And wisdom begins with understanding what Rumi actually said, not what modern translators wanted him to say.